morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. The one of a chew. About hey, hope you're feeling grand. Those in your world. Welcome to another Q&A Wednesday. Question 1. Let's get to it. Okie dokie, let's get to it, shall we? Question 1 today is what's your take on string height and tonal benefits versus ease of use? Well, I've got to say, I mean, I don't like low action guitar. I've struggled to play really low action guitars, and I don't particularly like the sound of them. I feel if your action's really low, the guitar doesn't ring so much. Like it doesn't have a lot of. It kind of kills the sustain and the kind of ring of a guitar. Well, at least to me, anyway. I mean, I can only speak from my perspective, but for me, like, if a guitar's got a super low action, regardless of the fact that I can't play it because I just can't get on with it, I just feel there's no ring to the guitar. There's no kind of like there's no life in it. Like for instance, like, you know, if that's kind of your fretboard and your string's really high, you know, your string will vibrate and it will move. Whereas if it's really low, it's got nowhere to go. It just kind of like bounces about the place on the fret. Personally, I don't like low action guitars. I wouldn't say my action's Rory Gallagher, Stevie Ray Vaughan high, but I do have it fairly high, and especially on this guitar as well, on my white Strat, I have it really high on those, well, medium height on those two guitars. But yeah, I definitely prefer having a higher action, especially down the high end of a guitar, because you can kind of if you've got a high end, you can grab the strings more. You know, it's a lot easier to be able to kind of like grab strings with a high action than it is a low action. A low action is great if you're just going to be playing like really fast. That's perfect for that. I mean, you don't want a high action if you want to be playing like, you know, super shred. But for music that I love to play and the style I love to play, I want to be able to play. I want to be able to really grab the string and really bend the string and, you know, and really get my fingers behind it. And I can't do that with a low action. Because I don't play super fast, I don't need to have a low action. Again, like I say, I tend to play with the flats of my fingers as well. The string doesn't go across the tip of my finger, it goes across kind of like, well, it's the flat. My fingers are always kind of like flattish to the fretboard. They're never kind of like that. And a low action guitar, because of the way I play it, if I play a low action guitar, I literally just struggle to play it. I fall off the strings and I can't grab the string to bend it. So I personally think a higher action is better than a low action, but again, that's only my personal preference. If you want to play super fast, low as you can get. Seriously, like, you know, that's kind of like the be all and end all of like super shred. Is like, you know, the lower the action, the better, you know, the faster you'll be able to play. It's just easier. But if you want to kind of, but for the music I play and the style that I like to play in, if you call it style or anything, but yeah, I just like, you know, I like the action up there so you can really grab the string. I like to be able to kind of like, you know, see under the strings, so to say. But yeah, I personally believe that a higher action is a better action. But again, you know, I can only speak for personal preference. I don't like low actions, it kills the guitar to me. But I hope that's answered that question. Anyway, let me know what you think out there, people of the tube. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you prefer and why? Do you prefer a high action or a low action on your guitar, and why do you prefer it that way? Or a medium action, let's not forget medium there, or extra medium. Okay, anyway, you also asked, have I seen the new Epiphone Les Paul for £89? What do you think to a Les Paul with 2 single coil pickups? I watched the Andertons review on this the other day, and I really like it. And I want to get one in the new year. I really want to get one. Whether that happened or not, I don't know. But it's only 89 quid, but 89 quid is a lot of money when you've got other things to pay for. But I would like to give it a go. I would like to give one of them a go. And I love the idea of having 2 single coils, because I'm a single coil nut. So anything with single coils, I'm like, yes, give me it now, damn it. But maybe not quite like that. But anyway, yeah, I would really like to give it a go. I really like the look at it. I don't like some of the colours, but some of the kind of classic kind of burst colours look really cool. But yeah, I think it looked great, and the Andertons review, they sounded really cool in that. So, yeah, fingers crossed in the new year, I'll be able to bring you a demo of one. But yeah, again, let me know what you think out there to the new Epiphone 2 single coil Les Paul. I think it's really cool. I like it. It's nice, affordable, cool looking guitar. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question 2 now. I hope it's answered your question. Okie dokie doo-da-day. Question 2. I'm going to struggle with this question. Someone did ask me, could you help me get John's tone out of my pod 2.0? I have played through the pod 2.0 a few times. A friend who I go on record with every now and again, he has a pod just direct in, and we use that for recording. We don't use amplifiers, we just use the pod. And it's a great thing, but for John's sound, because you said you struggled with kind of like, you know, like getting the sound, it's difficult to get, like, I mean, you can get close with a pod, but the way the pod reacts with pedals, I've always found a bit iffy. Because you said you had like a DS2 replica and a few other things. Not sure if I can. I'll have to try and get hold of one. I'll have to see if I can borrow one and see if I can do anything with it. But I mean, ideally, you want to be going for. There, like I say, like you said in your email, there is a plexi kind of like replica sound on the pod, but I wouldn't necessarily just say that's the be all and end all to get John's sound with that. I think there might be other models in the pod that will do a better job than that. I mean, the plexi models are okay. They're not the best. If I remember correctly, I think there's a Vox AC30S kind of combo, but patch in there. I think that got really close to the John sound, if I remember correctly. I remember recording a couple of months ago with it, and something like that got really close. Again, I don't have much experience with the pod, unfortunately, so I've got you know, occasional experience with it. It sounds fantastic. I love the pod. Especially with 2.0, it's a great thing, it really is. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll try and get hold of it, I'll see if I can borrow it for a day or so, and I'll try and get a video done on trying to get John's tone out of something like that, because I haven't really done a video like that. It's all been using kind of amps, but like, you know, amp simulators and stuff. It'd be interesting. So what I'll do is, I'll try and get hold of it, and I'll let you know if I can or I can't. And I'll do a video and see if I can kind of, like, you know, approximate with pedals as well, like DS2, and see if we can get it to kind of like, you know, behave itself and get kind of like, you know, John-esque kind of sound. In the meantime, I would try every conceivable model within the pod, not just the plexi, because technically the plexi might not work, because it might be a cranked plexi model, in which case, yeah, if it's distorted, that's no good. Try every single one, and try kind of the gain fairly low, and the mids fairly high, treble fairly low, bass fairly high as well. But yeah, try and be kind of like a bit sparse on the treble. And I think there's a present style on there as well, and I forget offhand. But yeah, try the gain low, try the treble low, try the mids and the bass fairly high, and try on every single one. And just and try your neck pickup on you as well. Try your neck pickup on your Strat. Don't try any other pickups. Just try your neck pickup and play something like Scar Tissue, and you know, and see if it kind of the sound matches up. See if you can kind of approximate the sound. But like I'll say what I will do. I'll try and get hold of it for you and try and get a video done for you, so I can, like, you know, actually answer 100% properly and give you actual settings and what amp model to use and you know, and this, that, and the other. So yeah. Hopefully I'll get back to you very soon on that one. But yeah, in the meantime, try that. Try a really kind of memorable Chili Peppers riff like Scar Tissue, neck pickup on the Strat, and go for that. Try every single one. Just like play through them all and just see which one go, ooh, that's got promise. And when it's got promise, try and work at it a bit. And if it doesn't work out, go on to the next one, let's say. So yeah, anyway, I hope that's answered your question for now. And hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood. Everywhere there's wood, and hopefully get a video done for you at some point, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna move on to question 3 now. Okie dokie, so question 3 today is I have a Fender amp and I'm buying a JH1 Marshall Jackhammer pedal to give me that John Frusciante sound. Should I put my amp on a clean setting on the drive channel, and also what would the EQ be on the pedal? Personally, what I would do if I had a Fender amp, I would run the jackhammer through the clean channel of your amp. I wouldn't use the drive channel, because drive channels on Fenders can be a bit fizzy sometimes, especially, you know, so, I mean, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but in my experience that's going to be the case. I would tend to run it through the clean channel of your Fender amp, and then kind of like, you know, just kind of overdrive, kind of like make the clean channel as kind of like tonally neutral as I can, and what I mean is kind of like just a flat signal, like, you know, really just kind of like, you know, basic. Can I quickly demonstrate? Just something really simple and just like straightforward, like yeah, just literally like, yeah, literally not really a great deal of tone there, but just kind of like a nice flat signal for you, excuse me, to kind of sculpt the jackhammer too, so to say. So just kind of like go to your clean channels, kind of set everything kind of, again, without knowing exactly 100% what the amp is, just kind of go for that kind of like, you know, flat kind of clean sound. You might have to lay off the treble and boost the mids and the bass, as, like I say, Fender amps have that kind of high treble kind of thing. It doesn't necessarily work for John's kind of sound. So I would go for your clean channel more than your drive channel and set it up kind of neutral, and then I'd use the jackhammer to kind of like, you know, overdrive it. And on the jackhammer, the EQ I've got is I have it set to the OD mode. I have the volume, which is the first dial on the right after the kind of the selector between overdrive and distortion. I have a volume on full. I have a gain about 10 o'clock. Treble and bass, which is the next dial along, I have both of them on 0. And then the frequency in the contour dial, I have the top one, the little top one at 12 o'clock, and I have the bottom one at 5 o'clock. So basically all the way around. On the bottom dial wants to be turned all the way up, and the top one wants to be turned to half. Those settings won't necessarily work on your amp being a Fender amp. It won't have the kind of same kind of thing. But what I will say is what you want to tweak more than anything is the far right, far right to you, dial. You want to tweak the top dial and the bottom one more than anything to sculpt John's tone. Forget the bass and the treble dial unless it's really dark, but in which case use your amp to kind of brighten that up. And use the contour and the frequency dial to sculpt in that kind of John tone. You also might need to crank the gain a bit more as well, being like a super kind of like, you know, if it's a Fender, it might be super clean. So, you know, just set it to the overdrive, set the drive, the gain about, I say about 10, 11 o'clock, forget the bass and the treble dial altogether, and just use the contour and the frequency dial to kind of like to fine tune it, because what my settings are won't necessarily work for you because you know, different amp and different equipment and whatnot. But hopefully that kind of like you an idea of what to do, and hopefully that'll work out. And you know, if you struggle, just like, you know, message me on YouTube or an email, and I'll you know, tell me, you know, where you've got to and what it sounds like and why doesn't it sound right, and I'll see what I can do to try and help you out a bit more from there. But yeah, that's what I'd do. What I would do is clean channel, neutral sound, engage the jackhammer on the overdrive setting, have gain about 10 or 11, have volume on the pedal maxed out, forget the treble and the bass dial altogether, turn them all the way down, and have the top dial on the right all the way up, and then the bottom dial, the bottom dial all the way up, and the top dial at half. And start from there and just kind of like, say, use the contour and the frequency dial just to kind of like sculpt in that kind of sound. So yeah, hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 4 now. Okay, so question 4 today is, how would you recommend getting a John Squire second coming tone? Also, what do you make of the bare knuckle Mother's Milk pickups? Well, first off, I haven't tried the bare can't talk. I haven't tried the bare knuckle pickups at all, so I can't really comment on that. You know, it just go on YouTube videos, and that's not really personal experience, so I can't really comment on the bare knuckle pickups. Maybe one day I'll get hold of some and I'll be able to give you impressions. But John Squire tone for the second comment. I know he switched to Les Pauls and a bit of a harder sound, like, you know, for things like Love Spreads. So, I mean, and I think, I mean, I could be totally wrong. I think he used, I don't know if it was Marshall or Mesa Boogie amps he used. I can't remember. Oh no, it's been a long time since I've thought of John Squire's stuff, but I think Second Coming was mainly a Les Paul, and he had a lot of harder sound than he did on the first Stone Roses album. How to get that sound? I mean, you just want to go for a really kind of like crunchy. I mean, if you kind of think of Love Spreads as an example, kind of want to be thinking of like a really fat, classic kind of broken up Les Paul kind of sound. Really, it's really. I haven't heard that album for ages. I haven't really thought about John Squire's tone for a long time, actually. I mean, yeah, it is a bit more of an edgy sound, I've got to say. Difficult to say. But I can't remember exactly what he used. I did know, but I don't remember now. It's been such a long time since I looked it up or even thought about it. I think it was Mesa Boogies he was using. I could be totally wrong in that. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. It sounds like that. It sounds a bit, yeah, a bit more like those than the Marshall. But like I said, the sound what we're going for is just that kind of like, you know, bridge humbucker kind of broken up kind of sound. I mean, it kind of moved away from that kind of like, you know, delay kind of reverb, almost floaty kind of sound he has on the first album. Where, you know, you think of like things like the intro to I Want to Be Adored and stuff like that. But yeah, it's more of an edgier sound, more of a gained up kind of sound. Sorry, that's not really much of an answer, is it? I do apologise for that. But yeah, I mean, any kind of drive channel on any kind of amp should be able to get you kind of close-ish. It's very kind of like mid-rangey, trebly kind of, not, you know, fat Les Paul kind of sound. It's very kind of like, you know, it's not generic. I don't want to say generic, but it's that kind of sound, that kind of real kind of like classic Les Paul kind of tone. And it sounds wicked, especially Love Spreads. Oh, filth! That is a filthy sound, that Love Spreads. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's all I can say really. It's just a kind of like a gain channel really of an amp. It doesn't really sound too much like a pedal. It sounds more like an amp to me, but again, I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a long time since I actually looked up John Squire or anything, you know, what he used. But I know he had a black Les Paul custom free pickup at that time, and I think he had a couple of other guitars as well. I think he had another Les Paul, but I think he had a 59. I think he had a 59 Les Paul. I don't remember. I remember hearing a story about when he quit the Stone Roses, they took all his gear away from him, like his amps and his guitars, and he lost all his guitars through some kind of contractual dispute, and they took all his guitars away from him, which is absolutely heartbreaking if you think, like, you know, the guitars he had, they're absolutely amazing, you know. And John Squire's a very overlooked guitarist, I think. But anyway, regardless of that, that's a video for another time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll just go for an edgy Les Paul sound. I mean, it's just kind of like gain channel. I mean, I can't really comment 100%. It's not really a very good answer. I do apologise for that. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to have to move on to question, where are we now? Question 5 now. Okay, question 5 today. Turns to Justin Hawkins. Anyway, what settings on the Peavey Bandit Red Stripe would you recommend for a Rory Gallagher tone, and what pedals would you use? Well, I've got my band itself is kind of like Rory tone at this point in time. Pedal-wise, I wouldn't use any. I would just use the lead channel on the Bandit. I wouldn't bother with pedals really. I'd just do it from the guitar. It does make it a bit more kind of like authentic to kind of how Rory played, and you're not kind of like thinking about pedals, because Rory didn't really use pedals for a long time. You know, back in the Taste days, he had the treble booster. He always had a treble booster, and then later on he had like a Boss distortion kind of EQ pedal, which is a really weird looking pedal that he had sat on the back of his amp. But he never really had pedals at his feet for a long time. It was mainly just kind of stuff to boost either his Vox or his Fenders or his Marshalls or his Ampeg amps. He never really had pedals at his feet till later on in his career. So I won't really think about pedals more than, you know, I'll just basically just plug it to the amp and play. What I've got set up here at this point in time is I'm on the vintage setting on the lead channel. I'm not using the clean channel at all. So I've got the pre-gain all the way up on 10. I've got low turned all the way down. I've got mid on 1. High is turned all the way down. Post-gain, which I'm using as a volume, is just on 2. So I'm not like killing anybody, including myself. No reverb. Presence turned all the way up. The tight and loose switch is on loose. And I've got the T Dynamics dial all the way up on 100%. And the vintage setting, I feel, just gives a real good approximation of Rory's kind of sound, especially if you kind of like play like Taste and stuff. You can kind of like do everything from the guitar then, because you can just kind of like clean up on the volume control. Yeah, so that's I feel that's kind of close to Rory's kind of. You know, it's pretty. Not really Irish tour kind of territory, but I definitely Taste and later on kind of Rory kind of like covers that. I mean, if you want kind of Irish tour, I'll just kind of maybe say crank the highs maybe to about 2. It just gets a bit more gnarly, but yeah, I mean that's the setting I would go for. I'll just go over it again. Lead channel only, pre-gain up at 10, set to the vintage mode, low all the way down, mid on 1, high all the way down, post-gain which you just use as a volume to regulate. I've got it on 2, which is kind of like a nice home. 1 and 2 on the Bandit is really nice kind of home use. Reverb is on 0. Presence all the way up on 10. The tight and loose switch is on loose, and I got the T Dynamics all the way up on 100%. I think it's pretty close. Yeah. It cleans up nicely as well. You get really. Yeah, really cool. And also, I can't do it on this guitar very well, but position 2. No, I can't find it. Position 2 on your guitar, out of phase, position 2. The one, basically, you know, you're bridging your middle pickup together. That's kind of the sound, you know, for later Rory. Taste and the early Rory is mainly kind of bridge or neck, but later Rory is kind of like out of phase, position 2. So yeah, that's the setting that I would go for. That's not, you know, you might need to tweak a bit depending on your guitar. I wouldn't use any pedals at all. I'll just go straight into the amp. Yeah, I hope that's helped you out. And yeah, moving on to question 6 now. Yeah, last question of the day. Okay, so switch locations for question 6 as I needed this help for this. Somebody asked, how does John play the chorus of Blood Sugar Sex Magik, and does he turn his wah off for the chorus? On the album, he turns his wah off. Live, he leaves it on. And it's all neck pickup on a Strat. He also has chorus on it as well. It's not like, it's not clean. He's got a chorus effect. And it's obviously his wah pedal as well. What made him think, I'm just going to drone the A string and go wah wah on my pedal? What the man? The man's mad. But I love him nonetheless. Anyway. So, for the verses and that kind of main riff, it's just a wah pedal with chorus on. For the chorus, he kicks in distortion. It could have been the DS2 on the original, I don't know. It's DS2 and probably his Boss Fuzz on the Californication thing, probably both them together. But he kicks that in. Like I say, on the album version, he doesn't use the wah in the chorus. He uses it only in the verse and the main riff. But live, he uses the wah. So album versions like this. And then the live Californication things, he uses his wah pedal and kind of does something like that. So that's basically what he's doing. How to play it that bit is quite simple. You just hit your low E string open, and then it's 7th fret on your A string, 5th fret A string, and then back to your 7th fret A string, and then you get this rundown, which is really cool. But it's basically just E minor pentatonic. The top kind of 3 strings of E minor pentatonic, you know, it's the same thing. It's just that, but you're just coming down. So you kind of start off on the G string on your 7th fret, and you just kind of do this hammer on the between the 7th and 9th fret on your G string, and then pull off, and then you do a pull off between the 9th and the 7th on the D string, and you end up on the 10th fret on your A string. So it's like. So yeah, it's not as poor for at all. Sorry, I'm not prepared, man. I'm not prepared. That's the riff there. So that's that kind of like, that's the first riff. And the next time you go to your 3rd fret on your low E string, 5th fret low E string, 4th fret A string, and then 5th fret A string. So the whole thing really slow is. Hopefully that, and then yeah, I'll say with distortion on why it sounds just in the Off the Map DVD where he does the solo. It's just this mad shredding madness. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell is he doing? I had to do 5 seconds of it. I just had to. Oh, love that bit. It just sends me wappy, that does, I tell you. Okay, so that's how to play it. That's what he does there. You also asked about Mellowship Slinky. The tone he gets of that is quite simple. The riff at the beginning, that is just basically a chorus pedal again. It was the DoD chorus pedal for Blood Sugar One. It's a chorus pedal and a DS2, but the DS2 is set on low distortion. It's not as much as that. It's a lot more kind of lower, a lot more punchy kind of sound. That's for the intro riff. Those bits is just clean. All the neck pickup so far. The intro riff's on the neck pickup. That riff is all neck pickup, and then you get to this next bit where you kick on the chorus again. So that's the chorus bit again, and then you get the, and then you get to the, again, still, it's all neck pickup mainly. Guitar solo, which is the really awesome, that bit. On the Funky Monks DVD, he's got a fretless Strat for that. On the fretless, on the Funky Monks DVD of him recording it, is not actually the take that was used on the album, because the take on the album, the first part, that run-up, is out of phase. It's like, it sounds like position 4 to me, but it could be position 2. I'm not actually 100% sure. But that's out of phase, and then that bit, that's back to neck pickup alone, and then you're back into it. So, quite simply, it's, like I say, intro, riff, DS2 on a low gain with chorus, verse is just clean on a neck pickup, verse part 2 is chorus again, chorus guitar effect on a neck pickup, and then you get your next bit of a da-da-doom, that bit, again, I would, you can leave your chorus on for that, or you can turn it off, it really doesn't matter. I would leave it on, probably. I forget 100% what John does there, but yeah, that's that. And then you got the guitar solo, like I say, which is just clean. There's no chorus effect on that, but the first part sounds out of phase, which I can't get on this guitar because it's really hard to wedge the freeway selector. Sounds out of phase, and then it's just kind of like neck pickup. So that's out of phase, and then this is neck pickup. You know, that's that thing, and then back into just clean guitar again, neck pickup, and then towards the end it's kick the chorus on again and a DS2 to go back to the. Sorry, thought someone was knocking at the door, but then there isn't. Anyway, yeah, I hope that's cleared that up for you. Anyway, you finally asked, do I prefer Guinness or Spitfire? Actually, I prefer neither, as I don't drink. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of either of them. So, I don't drink alcohol. So, yes, so neither of them. But anyway, I hope that's answered your question on Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic on the chorus. I hope that's kind of like, you know, that riff's really cool. Yeah, really cool riff, that. Oh, ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, I hope that's answered that. I hope that's answered you know, your question on Mellowship Slinky as well. And yeah, on the last question as well. So yeah, I hope that answered questions okay this week, everybody, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again on Friday for another video. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's not a secret, but you just have to wait and see. The evil genius plots away in his cavern of doom. I don't know. Anyway, have a great morning, afternoon, have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening, everybody. And I'll see you again very soon for another video. Have a great one. Goodbye now. That's rock and roll.